Coochie coochie coo. Fun
size.
Fun size. Hail Ratma. Fun
Hail
size.
Ratma. I miss Mabel.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
See dead people.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha. And this is Talking Horror with Jamie.
And Nikisha?
Yeah, where we talk through horror movies through the lens of human behavior and mental health. Hi, welcome. She's much better at it than I am. Obviously, Nikisha is not here today. I am filling in, already proving that she is significantly better than me, which is why I kind of, take a step back. But today, I'm filling in for Nikisha because we are talking about the 2025 anthology horror film VHS Halloween.
Ooh.
It's all fake. Same old shit every year, Keith. Come on, man.
That is not one of mine!
This has become a tradition for us. We love these movies, but every year, now that Shudder is putting them out every year, we are devouring them every year, and they're just so much fun. We love these things. Before we get started with trigger warnings and all that stuff, just a few words. As a reminder, you can follow us wherever you're on social media, but mostly just TikTok and Instagram at Talk Horror Pod. We would also love for you to give us a little review wherever you're watching, whether it's on YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Hey.
Whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because somebody like Movie Fan 1989 wrote on Apple, "So glad I found this pod. Funny, unique, insightful, and all around great content. Infectious energy and solid variety. Very well done. Add it to your playlist." Thanks, Movie Fan 1989. We really, really appreciate it.
Very kind.
But yeah, if you review us, we will definitely read them here. Yes, it helps the algorithm, but it also helps our ego. So yeah, that's all I got. That's all I have to say about that. Before we start, Jamie and I were invited to Eastern State Penitentiary's Halloween Nights in Philadelphia. It takes place in Eastern State Penitentiary, which was like one of the first prisons in the United States, I believe. And it only stopped being a prison in 1971. Al Capone was held there. It has a lot of history to it. It was very cool. But we went this year. We haven't been in a couple of years. It used to kind of be like a choose your own adventure where they had different haunts throughout it. But this year, it was kind of like a followed path where you filter in, you go through all the haunts one after another. There's kind of like an intermission in the middle where you can grab some snacks, some food. Then you can watch some of the entertainment that they have, buy some swag, and then you go through some other haunts towards the end. Jamie, we had an amazing time. Tell the people about it.
Yeah, it was I really enjoyed the way that like the narratives kind of unfolded, and I feel like they were a lot more cohesive, and you could follow what was happening more than maybe in the past. And so I really enjoyed that. Also, I took one for the team and I opted in. So I have never done this before at any of the haunted houses that I've ever been to, but I chose to opt in where you wear the like glow stick necklace and you're essentially consenting for the scare actors to like poke you, prod you, touch you, bring you into different areas, things like that.
I lost you
Brian
so
was
many times. like I'd literally be walking next to you and with like recording. It's all on TikTok. You can check out all of our experience there on TikTok. But literally I would like be recording and turn to you and you'd be gone. And I would be like, oh my God. And then I'd find her at the end of the haunt, like be like, oh, I was pulled into a room where we were chanting. There was one where you were
Yes.
pulled into a dentist chair. Oh my god.
Yes, I was pulled into a dentist chair and asked to open wide, and then they took a drill towards my mouth. I was outside, like we had just crossed the threshold outside going into a haunt, and someone pulled me aside and asked if I wanted to be frozen to death, and they put me in an ice cream truck and locked me in. And then I also was pulled to go down a slide and then crawl on my hands and knees in like a pirate ship area. And then the longest one was being pulled into a room with 2 other people where the scare actor was like, we need a sacrifice. And the other 2 people literally went nose goes, and then I was going to be the sacrifice. But then he opted for somebody else. And then me and the other person left had to chant. We had to go back and forth, like screaming a chant while he put something on the sacrifice's forehead. It was wild. And I was in there for like, it felt like 10 minutes. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to see Bryan until like the end of this.
But then they had a new haunt about underwater themed where you went down a slide.
Yes, that was the one I went down the slide. They also had that laser room that you hate.
Oh, okay, this is my least favorite room in a haunted house because it's the best room. The best room in the haunted house is the one where they put a laser across, but they have the fog going, so it feels like you're walking through a murky swamp and you can't see below you, and then people are popping up and scaring you, but also there's like a specific path to follow.
So you like walk into like walls, this like wooden wall thing. Yeah,
that sequence was great. There were also some rooms that Jamie did not get pulled into. Like there was a psychic reading room. There was a knife throwing room. There was a like ventriloquist dummy room.
Oh, I didn't like that one.
No, but you did you mention the ice cream truck?
Yeah.
It was that I waited for you on that one. That one took a while.
Yeah, more time than I thought. Like some of them were really long, some of them were short. But yeah, I'm very glad that I opted in. It was definitely worth it. Yes. I would highly recommend doing it if you're brave. But even like if you're not super brave, like they were, to me, the being pulled aside was less scary than just the people coming out and like trying to jump scare you.
Oh yes, and I got jump scared a lot. I am a wimp. But I do it. Like I'm not like a wimp. I'm not gonna do it. Like I do it. I like the scare and I laugh maniacally after I get scared.
We got t-shirts.
We got t-shirts.
We got a magnet. We got a snack.
Yes, we got a snack. We got admission into the speakeasy at Al Capone's cell. So where Al Capone's cell is within the penitentiary, there was a little speakeasy with a stage, and it was like 1920s themed. We saw a fantastic magician. And I don't usually put those words together, but he was fantastic. We had some nice drinks there. You could look into his cell. That was really fun. There were some other lounges and bars that did not require any sort of cover. And we got a really nice sweet treat. We got like a sweet dumpling that was really, really good. Yeah, we had a blast. And something I do want to say about Eastern State Penitentiary is I really respect the heck out of them because they're doing all this cool stuff, but it's a historic site. So they make it, even in the information that we got before going, they were like, make sure you use these words and not this word in terms of like describing the prison and describing the people who had been incarcerated there. What they're doing for kind of like how we talk about incarceration and jail and the history of it, really fascinating. But the vibes there are so incredible. Just like you're literally surrounded by these like empty cells that are darkened. It's really scary. This is typically ranked one of the scariest haunts in the country. And then of course, obviously in Pennsylvania. But they do such a good job of making it both inclusive and informative, but like, but scary as well. Cause you can do actual tours of the prison. Very cool.
During the day, also at night. Like one of
Yeah.
the things that you can do as an add-on are these like flashlight tours, which is
Yeah.
really wild. But yeah, what Bryan was saying, like as somebody who formerly worked in criminal justice, they do a lot of justice education. And I think that like, you know, having this like fixture that is still like up as a space to like, you know, let people know what the justice system has looked like historically, and you know, moving forward. I'm, you know, I'm not going to speak about my own personal values, but I just find it very interesting that like this is ultimately what they are like, you know, if you're supporting Eastern State Penn even during the like Halloween event, that these funds are still going towards like justice education, which I really appreciate.
It was awesome. We could not suggest it enough. If you're in the area, if you're in the New York area, it's worth the drive. It's very cool. It's also in a fun part of Philadelphia. There's fun bars along Fairmount Street, some great restaurants. They also have a shuttle to parking. They make it very easy and accessible for you to get through. Very cool. It goes through November 8th. So you should definitely check it out. I'm going to put the link for tickets in the description. It's easternstate.org/Halloween. I literally could not suggest it more. It was so fun. It was a great night out. It was worth the babysitter. It was worth the babysitter. Totally worth the babysitter. We had such a blast. Jamie, we're talking VHS Halloween, and I'm sure I know because I watched it with you. There are trigger warnings. Lay them on us.
Lay them on us. I mean, I guess do the opposite of that because they're warnings. So
true. Yeah. Place them nicely in front of us so we can read them and understand.
Sure. So yes, again, this is an anthology. So there's a variety of different, you know, short segments that all have a varying degrees of triggers. So for the Diet Phantasma frame narrative, I mean, lots of insides on the outside, some like ghosty stuff, some possession stuff. So if you don't like that, also some indifference to people dying.
Oh yeah.
A lot of indifference to people dying.
Splatter.
Yes. And then we have Coochie Coochie Coo.
Coochie Coochie Coo. This one
Which,
had a lot of good sound bites. This whole kitten caboodle.
Yeah. A lot of disturbing like adults acting like children, references to sexual assault, references to hanging, like forced motherhood, scary lullaby, broken ribs.
Oh yeah.
Also just like
titties.
Yes, more than one. Just a lot of poor decision making.
Oh my god, these people. Oh my god.
Then we have ut supra sic infra, which I believe means as above, so below.
Yes.
And in this one, again, more like possession-y stuff, convulsing, eyeballs being taken out, eyeballs being eaten, vomiting, eyeballs, interactions with police, dropping to the ground and dying. I think that's everything. I'm sure we'll
tunnels.
Like catacombs kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Fair.
Then we have fun size. Eating things that are shaped like body parts that are probably body parts. Gross. Taking more than one piece of candy when there's a sign that
Rude.
explicitly says take only one piece of candy. Flying candy bowls. Being
Yes.
chopped up. Being turned into candy. Somebody having gumballs go up their butt and then also coming out of their face. Feeling compelled to be in a relationship and be engaged to someone that you're not interested in.
I completely forgot about that mini B plot line until you said it right now, but we'll get there when we talk about that one. Fun size.
And scary mascots.
Scary mascots, yes. Good.
Then we have kid print, which I feel like has the most intense actual trigger warnings. This is definitely the most I would say like serious subject matter that's very disturbing. So this features like child torture, child death, just a lot of child torture, child death, putting skins on faces, just
wrongly
a lot
accused.
Of what?
Like wrongly accused.
Yeah. Mutilations. Just really disturbing.
Yes.
And I think that's
Home Haunt.
Oh, right. Oh my God. I was like, did I say all of them? But I was counting the frame narrative as another one.
Yeah.
So then we have Home Haunt, which is the haunted house one. For one, I would say stealing, because stealing stresses me out. Then a lot of like supernatural triggers, also a witch killing children, a giant monster face becoming alive. Just lots of like supernatural stuff. If supernatural stuff isn't for you, then this one's probably not for you.
Yeah. Cool.
And now I think we're done.
No, that was everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's just get right into it with trick or treat, where we just say if we liked it, it was a treat. If we did not like it, you tricked me. Or somewhere in the middle.
Trick treat.
Jamie, you go first.
Sure thing. This was a treat for me. Mostly all the way through.
Yeah, this was pretty consistent all the way through. This was definitely a treat for me. And truthfully, of all the VHSs, the only one that is not a treat is Viral, the third one. Everything else has something that is nice.
Yeah. At least one.
Yes, at least one. Viral is bad. So let's just get right into our likes and gripes.
Let's do it.
And now our likes and gripes.
So for likes and gripes, if you've listened to our VHS episodes before, this is how we structure it. Jamie and I will go through our own personal rankings of the segments that she previously mentioned. Once a segment is mentioned twice, meaning that it has been said off of my list and Jamie's list, we will talk about that one as a whole. So that's the way that we will talk through all of these. So there won't be any what's the plot today, because we'll talk about each plot, who directed it, who is in it, as we get to those in our conversation. So without further ado, Jamie, what was your... So again, the just to reiterate, there are 6 that we're talking through. There's the narrative, which is Diet Phantasma. Then there is Coochie Coochie Coo. Then we have Ut Supra Sync Infra. Then we have Fun Size. Then we have Kid Print. and then we have home haunt. That is them in order. So Jamie, why don't you start us off? What was your number 6?
My number 6 was Kid Print.
That was also my number 6.
Yep.
So we both mentioned it. Let's talk about Kid Print. Jamie, why don't you start us off? What didn't click with you, or what did and it just is low?
It really didn't click for me. I think just the subject matter was not for me. And I know that we talk a lot about fuck them kids on this podcast, and I think in general, you know, more recent horror movies have definitely featured more like, you know, bad things happening to children. But this, I don't feel like we're at a place where like this is, you know, I wasn't even going to say fun to watch because that's obviously not right, but just like, I don't think that this is maybe as consumable as like some of the other fuck them kids that we've talked about.
Sure.
And you know, also like being a parent, I think adds to the like disturbing nature of this one. I'm sure even if you're not a parent, just like again, the you know, the actual like representation of seeing kids tortured is pretty awful. And then on top of that, it's a bummer that, you know, the person that we're following ends up being killed and then also is framed for the child murders. And like, you know, this awful person like getting away with it is just leaves a very distasteful taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I agree with all of that, but even more than that, I don't know why. And maybe this just fell in a place during this movie where I was kind of like zoning out here and there. I found this one hard to follow. I just, the beginning where they're like doing videos of the tapes in my head, I'm like, sure, this might help ID the kids, but this is not actually like the logistics behind like actually filming them made no sense to me because you're still taking the kids out. Like on, you know, this, the kid, like they're still being put into danger in some ways. My other thought, this is so crazy, and this is like not fair to this episode, this segment, excuse me. I thought the twist was going to be that they clone the kids and like, because they don't care what happens to the clone. You know what I mean? And so like the kids can go trick-or-treating, they'll be abducted, and like it doesn't matter because like I thought it was gonna be something like disturbing like that. So when this came out and it was a lot more grounded and serious, if you will, I kind of had already set expectations in my head that like did not help this segment. But like I agree with you. I just found it hard to follow. It was I don't know. If this had come earlier in the edit of this, because up until this point, like it was very campy all the way through, and then all of a sudden, like the tone shifts, and because even the diet phantasma all throughout it is campy, so that kind of sets that tone as well. So this one just like did, like you said, it was a bad taste in my mouth, not because it wasn't made well. Alex Ross Perry directed it, who did Her Smell, did the Christopher Robin movie, did this segment. It is a very fantastic guest on Blank Check with Griffin and David's podcast. But yeah, this one just didn't do it for me as well.
Yeah, I agree with the tone shift. Like it was just like so jarring that I think also I like I could not shift as quickly into this to like enjoy it at all. And was just like, oh, that's like, take me back to the fun ones.
Fun size. Yeah. Totally. Cool. All right. What was your number 5?
My number 5 was Gucci Gucci Goo.
Oh, interesting. My number 5 was Diet Phantasma.
Very interesting.
All right. Moving down the list. What is your number 4?
My number 4 was Diet Phantasma.
Let's talk about the interstitial stuff, Diet Phantasma. Diet Phantasma was directed and written by Bryan M. Ferguson, and he spells his name in a perfect way. He is a music video director, best known for that. He's a Scottish filmmaker. He did music videos for the bands Garbage, Alice Glass, Ladytron. So that's very cool, and it definitely had Diet Phantasma definitely had a music video feel to it for sure, in a good way. I'll start with this one. As far as like narratives pulling the segments along, I thought this one was a really good one for VHS in general. I laughed every single time. I found the doctor's like apathy concerning in like a good way to watch these. And then at the end I was like, okay, I didn't really understand what they were doing here. It was fun. And then the mid-credits commercial where it was like, Died Phantasma with a real ghost in it. Like that was very funny. It wrapped up everything really well. I just liked the testing in general. It was fun. I don't think it was more for me. The reason I put it this low is it just came down to like, I think I just like the larger segments better than this like cut up transition narrative. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the transition narratives are potentially at a deficit because like you have to remember the previous segment that's like stitched in with whatever segment you just watched. But yeah, I thought that this one did a good job because it was all oh, are you drinking your Diet Phantasma?
Diet Phantasma with a real ghost. Not
but I think that the consistency worked for it in terms of just having the test subjects go, and like you're really just watching different test subjects get splattered in a variety of different ways. So like it didn't feel hard to follow the frame narrative. I just was expecting more people to drink the soda and then like bleed out of their face or something terrible happened to them. So but yeah, I think that it was really funny. I appreciate that like we don't totally understand like what they're trying to make until the end. Yeah, just like the head scientist who his reactions to everyone and then everyone else just kind of being so over him was all very funny.
Yeah, like the shots that cut to like the second in command or the one he's giving instructions to, who just had this like the Office deadpan like dim look to the camera was like excellent.
Yeah, and I will also say that for me, there's a big gap between kid print and my number 5, Coochie Coochie Coo.
Same with me. My Diet Phantasma gap from kid print is very large. And I think that also just for both of us just shows like our tone conversation we just had in terms of very different scenarios. Cool. All right. What is your number?
Oh wait,
3?
did you didn't say your number 4?
Oh, I did. Oh, no, I didn't. You're right. Thank you. Nikisha would do way better at this than me. My number 4 was Coochie Coochie Coo.
We get to talk about it.
We get to talk about Coochie Coochie Coo. Okay, so Coochie Coochie Coo.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm just going to say who was directed by.
Oh, Anna Zlokovic.
Great. Yeah. What did you think of Coochie Coochie Coo?
So this one, even though I thought, this one was my number 5. For me, I had a really hard time, like following these two high schoolers making just terrible decision after terrible decision. Like I was just like, who would go this far when like clearly all of this is bad? Like I can't imagine a world where anybody would actually go into the house once they like see somebody at the door. At that point they would run away, like that doesn't seem like high school behavior. It does up to that point.
Sure.
And then it's like, no, there's no world where they're going into this like random house, not inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, from that point on, I just kind of was like, but then they kept making dumb choices once they were inside. But I was like, okay, like I'm no longer invested in whatever bad thing they succumb to, because they truly got themselves into this mess. There's no way that they could have avoided this with every single decision that they made.
Totally. They deserved everything that came to them. Even though that one girl was going to Yale and the other one was trying to figure it out, like, yeah, that's not a decision you make on. Also, like, if this is October, you already know you're going to Yale. Like, I guess, when did you find out for college? Would you have known by October of your senior year?
I don't know when you find out about like an early decision.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
I knew by December because I applied early action to my undergrad.
I think I found out in January, but I didn't apply early decision or anything like that. But yeah, anyway, that I just thought about that right now.
But I definitely thought that like the creepy adult babies were weird and gross and confusing. But then also I was just like, why are they like, they don't seem to be as scared of them as I feel like they should be, even if they're not like attacking them, but just like, their faces are definitely off, and just like a lot of things where I'm like, why are you still interacting with these people? And then seeing mommy, she was scary. She was just like, the
cool character design.
Gross milk. The upsetting like backstory that we get also was like very like, it just really bothered me. So yeah, that kind of also put it lower, even though like, again, like it's campier, but I was like, I do not care for this.
I also think this is the segment that uses a little bit of AI.
It does.
On the mantle of like,
that's a bummer.
I think I saw it. I'm gonna be totally honest. I didn't do like any research as opposed to like it was under question.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel very similarly to you on this one. I really dug the monster work. I really dug the creepy vibes and Halloween night aspect of this. I kind of liked how everybody passed by that house and they went to that house. I really enjoyed all of that. I even enjoyed it up to the point where they go, like, there are elements of this that are really fun. And I think, even though they made the wrong decision, I think they made stupid decisions. When the thing appeared at the door, that would actually be more interesting. Not that I would ever do it, but I understand why someone would go in, because like, oh, there is a person. Excuse me, there is a person there. Like, this is like a haunted house experience or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that being said, their decision making, but not only their decision making, but how quickly the one who didn't want to go in kept changing their mind didn't feel real. I don't know.
Like the inconsistency.
She just got to the place of going against what she wanted to do so quickly. And I recognize that they built up the fact that like these two friends, like this is their last year together before they go their separate ways. They're going crazy on Halloween night, like, that, and then she goes into the house and she like kind of has no choice but to go in with her friend. Like, I don't know. But the decisions that they make, their reactions to certain things in the house, I agree, very hard to get behind. And quite frankly, if this one did not have a cool monster as well as a nice little coochie coochie coo hook, I don't know if I would have been into it as much. So yeah, now that we talk about it, Coochie Coochie Coo only really beat out Diet Phantasma because of the fact that I remember the Coochie Coochie Coo from this one. Exactly. All right. Next up, we have, what is your number 3?
My number 3 was Fun Size. cameos.
Okay. My number 3 is Home Haunt. All right. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Home Haunt.
Let's talk about Home Haunt. And something I do want to say before we get into it is Home Haunt. I ranked these when we first watched it, which was like on October 3rd when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording this on October 12th. The reason I say that is because my ranking has changed since then based on like what has stayed in my head. And Home Haunt is one that has rose from 4 to 3. I know that's not a lot, but I mean there's only 6. Which yeah. So that one. Home Haunt was directed by excuse me, Micheline Pitt Norman and R.H. Norman. What did you think of Home Haunt, Jamie?
I thought it was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it starts with like this family tradition and then like shifts very seamlessly into, you know, several years have passed and now the son is just like not into this. And, you know, just that shift from like being this kid that really looks up to his parents and like, you know, is kind of awestruck by them into this like, you know, late teen who's just really over it and ready to go to college and like, you know, they think that they're more mature than they actually are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it's sad, but
yeah,
also
it is a little sad in like a good narrative way. Sad.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, what needs to happen in order for you know, him to agree to like join his dad and help again, and then like what's the experience of that? And then I just thought that was really fun and funny that the haunted house was still set up in the order that it was supposed to be, and like that's what the dad was like like the dad was able to say what all of the next spaces were because that's how he had always set up the haunted house. And so like once the transition from like, you know, just kitschy haunted house things turned then into the actual scary things, he was like, oh no, the graveyard is next. And like I just thought it was really funny.
Sure.
Because it's like, even though he knew which like room in the haunted house they were going to, he didn't know how it was going to like turn into something horrible and like murderous. And it just was very funny to me.
Yeah.
And then when like the witch escapes and just starts like murdering trick-or-treaters, it just was like very off the rails in what I thought was a deeply fun way. So yeah, plus I love a good haunted house, and like I would love to have a haunted house like set up in, you know, in my imaginary big home where everyone goes trick-or-treating outside and not these like trunk or treat situations. Like I want the big skeletons in my imaginary front yard. Yeah, all of that's really interesting to me, so maybe that also boosted my like of this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you on everything you said there. I'll also add I really liked the Rick Baker and Sarah Nicklin cameos, especially because this one used so much practical effects for the better that like kind of having Rick Baker there, the one of the greats, like just made me smile. I just thought that this was, like you said, you kind of said everything. It was really fun. I had a blast watching all of this unfold, and it was rooted in this kind of like father-son dynamic and familial relationship dynamic that kind of like made you care about the end. And you know, it was really, I really liked this one. This honestly, if I re-rank these in like a month or even next year, I very much might re-rank this as number 1 just because of like how much it stays in the. I mean, not right now, obviously.
Yeah.
Actually, that'd be kind of interesting if we ranked last year's like also on these episodes just to see like which ones actually stuck with you.
Yeah.
But all right. I think I have to do my number 3 next.
Yes.
No, I did. It was Home Haunt.
Yes.
That's why we're talking about it. What was your number 2?
Oh, that's why we talked about it, because my number 2 was Home Haunt. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Ut Supra Sync Infra.
Interesting.
And I'm assuming that is your number 1 because that's the only one you haven't mentioned yet. All right, let's talk about Ut Supra Sync Infra. As a reminder, this was directed by
Paco
Plaza
Plaza.
and written by Plaza and Alberto Marini. We should also mention that I believe Paco Plaza is behind the Rec franchise, which we love. Jamie, why don't you start with why you liked this one?
Yeah,
This was your number 1.
It was. I really just like, and while yes, I really liked the campiness of all of the other, like most of the other ones, I think this one felt the actual like most serious scary, but not like, kid print scary, more of like I definitely dig some like supernatural horror, and kind of the timeline shift between what's happening in the present with the police, and then what already transpired with like what originally happened. And even though this is not an English language segment, like it's still, for one, obviously like subtitles are on, but like two, I feel like you can still absolutely understand the like tension and fear and distress that everyone's experiencing, especially like the lone survivor from the event, and just like how hesitant he is to even go back there to do all of the things that the police are asking him to do. They're like, oh, like, did you do this? Did you read that? Like, do it for us now. And him just like begging them not to. And then again, it's another situation where, they kind of get what's coming to them, because he's trying to warn them so many times and they're not really believing him. And I think the kind of full circle of in the beginning, them being like, do you know what happened to their eyes? And him kind of being like, I have no idea. And then once they make him repeat the phrase and then the phone rings, he starts convulsing and then throws up the eyeballs, and it's like pretty awful.
Yeah, that was great.
And my favorite sequence of this actually was when like that starts happening, you see him like walk out of a door, and then everybody is slowly like rising into the air at the same time. And then they end up getting stuck to the ceiling, and the perspective is like they're on the ceiling and you see a door open and there's footsteps coming into the room, but like they're walking seemingly upside down. And so he like walked out of the door, walked back into the same door, except it's the upside down world. And like that I thought was really cool. I just thought it was really clever, because again, it's like as above, so below. So it's got like the kind of split perspective thing going on. This one really was a good time for me.
I loved this one like a lot. This actually was my number 1 before I switched it, because and I will talk about the next one in a minute. But again, I like that VHS did something different. This entirely Spanish language segment was a really refreshing surprise. I thought it was scary. All the things that you said in terms of like being scary but campy in the same breath. I literally got chills when they translated it to As Above, So Below. Not only because I love that concept, but I also love the movie, the found footage film. And I didn't know this was the Rec people until after we watched it. So I didn't even go in with this expectation of what it was going to be. Afterwards, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, everything that you said, I completely agree with. I think this is an absolutely spectacular segment. And I think that if I were to rank every single VHS segment, like I think this would rank pretty highly in general for me. Maybe even over my number 1, which is like a weird high, a weird thing to say. But I really liked this one. I think this is an excellent choice for number 1. And then You're welcome. You're welcome. And then my number one was Fun Size. Fun Size.
What was it? Okay.
This this one was directed by
Casper Kelly.
Casper Kelly. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Casper Kelly, you may know from, he does like Adult Swim stuff. He did Too Many Cooks, which kind of like really tracks for what this is. This one is the one where they get sucked into the bowl for taking one too many candy, and then they're kind of put in this like backroom scenario, this like weird Willy Wonka Hershey factory, where they get picked off one by one, and then there's that weird B plot where these two people are getting engaged when one is really more into the other one. Anyway, this is my number one. I think because of how this is not only my number one, but it's the one I have the most gripes with, which is weird. So on one side, we have the weirdness of it, the bowls, the chocolate covered body parts, the eating the penis thing, all of that. Then you have the weird mascots, the brownie and the round-headed guy, and then you have the weird, like, you know, balls, like gumballs being shot up people's butts and stuff like that, and coming out of his hand. And then you have that backroom's like weird feeling type of thing. But I will also, and honestly, I even like that stupid B plot that didn't need to be there about like her not really wanting to marry him, because every single time he called her like fiance, I thought it was so funny. And then him being like killed, as she's telling him like, I don't really want to marry you, it was like really fucking funny to me. It just felt chaotic in the best way. However, I just thought that there's one moment that really made me upset in this one. They're watching the monitor of everything get put into the packages when the boy is killed and chocolate covered. And they're like, oh no, we got, which one is it? Which one is which? Which one is which? I'm like, this doesn't make sense. You would have one, the sizes are different. Like you would have known which piece that is. And two, like you watch them being chocolate covered in the mirror. And I recognize that this is very high stakes. You're like, your adrenaline is pumping, but like, I just don't believe that they would like totally not even acknowledge the fact of these things and their sizes and stuff. Like they're fun sizes. Yeah, but I don't, and I think that again, what Coochie Coochie Coo had that made me like it was the repeatable, quotable line, the hook, you know, Coochie Coochie Coo versus exactly versus Fun Size, and then the weird monster character, and then just like I wish you all could have been in the room the first time the bowl like rose up and swallowed them. We were cracking up.
It was very funny.
It was really funny and well done. So this one is my number one. Whether it lasts at number one is another story, but like I like saying Fun Size. Fun Size.
Fun Size.
We'll talk about this when we should talk about it today. At the end we're going to talk about us going to Eastern State Penitentiary. Someone even said it there, and that made me laugh a lot. But Jimmy, what did you think of Fun Size?
Yeah, I thought that it was fun. It was very silly. And I was just laughing a whole bunch, kind of like what you said, like it was just deeply silly. I had the same gripe as you. I think I was yelling at the TV screen of like, what do you mean you can't find it? Like, it's very clear where it is. But just deeply silly. But like weirdly supernatural as well, like the combo. Yeah. Just the creepy mascots.
The little brownie guy was amazing. The funfetti brownie guy. Oh, I also hated when she was like, just put me on the conveyor belt now. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, that was weird. That was like a weird choice. I was like, what do you mean? Like, aren't you trying to survive this? Like, what? Anyway.
Yeah. All right. That's a solid list. We also had a solid fun time. So let's quickly jump into brain.
Tasty. Fun size brains.
Right. For brains, I had two questions. The first one is actually about a lot of things in this. There's a lot of peer pressure, and I feel like a lot of Halloween set movies have a lot of peer pressure, and it's usually peer pressure by teens, younger people, things like that. And I know that like your brain isn't fully formed until you're like much older or whatever it is, but I just want to talk about peer pressure in heightened scenarios or on like nights like Halloween. I don't really have a formal question, but I just love to hear your thoughts kind of on teens and peer pressure, and like what the kind of process kind of is there. I don't know, that's Nikisha's way better at this than I am.
I mean, so definitely like our brains aren't really like fully set, I would say, until like around 25. And by that, it's even more specifically our like the parts of our brain that deal with critical thinking skills. So I would say that that's like directly applicable to kind of the gist of what you're asking around like peer pressure and succumbing to peer pressure more easily, because you might not have the like full wherewithal to be like, maybe I shouldn't do this and like listen to your gut. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to be perceived as like a wuss or whatever. So I guess I'll do it. I also think that without that like critical thinking aspect, you're less likely to feel like at risk or in danger by certain actions. There is this like mentality when you're a younger person that you're invincible and like nothing bad is going to happen to you. So I feel like that also like ups the ante when doing something that maybe you wouldn't do, because there might not be a glaring risk associated with it, at least when you are agreeing to it.
Sure. Cool. That makes sense. Peer pressure. High five. Fun
Don't
size.
do it.
Don't get peer pressured. And then my next question for you is more directly related to what was it? Haunt house? House haunt?
Home haunt?
Home haunt. In that segment, as we mentioned, the father is trying to kind of like put his son was into Halloween and then kind of like wasn't into it as much anymore, and the dad is still trying to like, if for lack of a better term, like force it on him or get him to like be engaged in it again. I guess like what is the way to like handle kids when it comes to liking the hobbies that you like, finding connection there? I'm mostly asking to see how we can get our son to like horror movies like we do. But like, how do you do that without like overwhelming them, or like I don't, by introducing them but not like overwhelming them?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely imagine that it's challenging. Obviously, we are parents, but we haven't really gotten to this point of like, our son being able to verbalize that he doesn't like something. And I don't think that he's like, we're not like introducing our like hobbies to him yet of like, all right, here's my like gaming controller now, like let's play Fortnite together.
We know is that he doesn't like green beans, but like I wasn't like forcing him to like green beans.
I mean, I think it's there's a balance of within the relationship dynamic that you have with your kids that you're still the parent, right? So like if I think like thinking about what's the relationship you want them to have with the things that you like. You don't want to force them to, play certain things or like certain things, because like there's still this like power dynamic at play. And I feel like, there might be some like resistance to authority, but also B, like the power dynamic feels like they're not really able to like independently make a decision. And again, within reason. I feel like for a hobby, like the risk is fairly low depending on what the hobby is.
Right.
Other things are definitely riskier, but I think also like having open communication where your kid doesn't feel like they can't tell you that they don't like something.
Sure.
And like give them more flexibility, or even inquiring like why they might no longer be interested in something. And like validating that, because I think in this segment the son basically said like the impact that this haunted house has had on him in school growing up, and like that seems to have like really impacted his like lack of interest in continuing with it. And like it just doesn't seem like the dad particularly cares, and it feels like he's prioritizing his own like goal of doing the haunted house over his kid. And so like I think also being mindful of like, you can have hobbies and interests and stuff because you are an intersectional person, right? Like even though you're a parent, you're also all of these other things. You can have likes and dislikes that are outside of being a parent. However, you are still a parent. And so like, what are you doing with regard to your kid, especially if they're like, I don't like this thing, or like, I don't want to do this thing makes me uncomfortable, and you're flat out like ignoring that, like that's also going to impact them and the relationship that you have with them. And certainly is not going to encourage them to want to continue doing this thing with them if you're not really listening to them at all. So those are my thoughts.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. Just got to make sure he likes horror movies, Cool. Should we Rotten Tomatin this thing?
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
This thing.
Rotten
Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes? You go. You're the only one guessing. Oh no, I'm not looking at it. I'm gonna guess too.
Okay.
I haven't opened it yet.
57.
I'm gonna say 72.
Okay.
Whoa! This is a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
Wow.
I didn't give it that rating because I did not like it. I just didn't know how critics would feel about this.
Well, the popcorn meter is 56%. So the critics' consensus says consistently unnerving as it cycles through a series of shorts that are more treat than trick. They stole our thing. VHS Halloween is one of the most purely enjoyable cassettes in the franchise yet. Yeah. All right. Now, what do you think this has on Letterboxd? I just saw what it is, so only you're guessing.
2.7.
It has a 3.
Okay.
That seems about right. We have before we get to the other ones, we have some friends of the pod. Brie Hart's Horror said, "Give me VHS Christmas by next year, thank you." And then Hollow Woods only gave it 1 star, did not enjoy it. He's going to be on for our Halloween episode, so we have to ask him about this. And he usually puts quotes as his reviews. He wrote, "I'm getting on the conveyor belt, okay? I just want it to be done." But the top 3 popular reviews on this one is at number 3, more like VHS, fuck them kids. As we said as well. Number 2, greatest anti-soda ad ever. And then
I don't know. That makes me want to drink a soda.
I know. I would have one with a little bit of ghost infused. And then the most popular review, I believe, is by one of the actors in Fun Size.
Oh.
I have been immortalized eating a chocolate-coated penis while white icing drips down my chin. I will quit acting now, for I have peaked.
Wait, that's so funny.
Yeah, Jake Ellsworth. Amazing. Cool. Let's do the 4 S's.
Yeses.
Skull, Scare, Shakes, and Suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
Cool. The 4 S's are Skulls, Scares, Shakes, and Suggestions. We're going to rank them 1 through 10. Jamie, why don't you start us off? Again, Skulls are how this handles mental health and human behavior. Scares is how scary was it, and Shakes is how will you remember it? How much will you remember it?
Yeah, and this is overall, not for
Overall.
each
This
individual.
is like as a whole. Yeah, totally.
Okay. For Skulls, I'm giving it a 5 because I would say across the board, a lot of people are making some pretty dumb choices.
Concur.
Just a lot of bad decision making throughout. And then for Scares, I'm giving this a 4, which kind of seems high, but I think that it's mostly related to kid print. Because again, I just found that subject matter was deeply horrifying and disturbing to me. So like it just got all of those scare points. And for Shakes, I think I'm going to give this a 6.
Nice.
Like I said, I think most of the segments I found really fun size. I also just like, as you know, we're saying fun size over and over again, like the segments that have the things that you can remember, like we still talk about Hail Ratma like all the time.
Yes.
And so like I just feel like those moments really stand out in like my memory of, you know, there's 8 of these movies with a countless amounts of segments that like, you know, there's a Rolodex in my brain, but like these are the things that still stick around. And so I feel like most of them will kind of remain solidified in my brain.
Totally. I gave it a 4 for Skulls, a 4 for Shakes, and a 4 for Scares, and a 7 for Shakes.
Nice.
I enjoyed this one. Same reasons as you. Totally. I think this is definitely one of the best VHSs. And for suggestions, I think I've given this many times for other VHS episodes, but I fucking love Southbound. Another anthology movie made by a lot of the same people who made the original VHS. Southbound is awesome, and there's the David Bruckner segment in Southbound is exceptional. So I'm going with Southbound. What about you, Jamie?
Cool.
What's your suggestion?
I have 2, and it's more specific to my favorite segment, the Ut Supra Sic Infra. And we kind of talked about both of them, but I would definitely recommend Wreck. That was written by this director, and I would also recommend As Above, So Below, that Bryan referenced earlier. Just another really good scary supernatural horror movie that also takes place in the catacombs.
Totally. Awesome. Those are great suggestions. I want to watch them now. But yeah, that brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. And of course, you can follow us wherever we're on social media. That is at Talk Horror Pod. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. So of course there's YouTube. Hi, YouTube. There's also Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
And thank you.
And of course, we'll end this episode with Coochie Coochie Coo. Fun size. Hail Ratma.
Hail Ratma. I miss Mabel.
Oh, Mabel, what a delight she was. And that's the Deadstream people from 99. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Bye.
Bye. Hail Ratma.